What's up? This is Jay, and this video is Power Season 5, Episode 7 recap. I want to thank everybody that support me at patreon.com/Jaymoorereviews and also on PayPal, especially my newest supporter, Valerie L. Thank you for all your support, and subscribe to my channel and click the like button if you enjoyed the video, and let's get into it. Now, we see Tasha, and she's in the elevator on her way down, and at the same time, Angie and Ghost is in the elevator, and they talking about, well, Tasha thinks that she got Terry on lock. Let's hope so. And then Angie hits him with, well, when you in love, you seem to make bad decisions. And that's when Ghost kind of looks like, damn, throwing shots in the elevator. And so then we see Tasha, and she gets out the elevator, and she's talking to Terry. And so she's asking him, so you gonna back me up, right? And Terry like, so you asking me to lie? You want me to commit perjury on the stand? I could lose my license. I could go to jail. And Tasha, she's all confused now because she thought she didn't put that thing on him, make him do anything. And he said, so you still loved James St. Patrick? You still trying to support him? She said, no, Terry, you don't understand. He like, no, you asking me to lie for him is proof of that. You need to get your coat. We're going to the cops. If you don't turn him in, I'm going to turn him in. And then that's when she stops him, says, no, Terry. And then she says, Tariq is the one that killed him, not James. And so that stopped Terry in his tracks, because now he like, wait a minute. Two things. One, you've been lying to me the whole time. And then he realizing that she didn't do it. It was Tariq. And then she's like, well, I was trying to protect Tariq. I wasn't trying to protect James. He like, well, the best thing to do is have Tariq turn himself in. He'll never get first degree because he's a child. She's like, no, he's a young black man. If he goes into the system, the police are going to eat him alive. Terry, you already know I need your help. And then she grabbed his hand and started rubbing it. So that was his spot. So it started making him change his mind. She like, I need your help. And so then he put that water head down. He like, all right, Tasha. Meanwhile, we see Ghost, and he's talking to Angie, and he's saying, well, we'll see. I don't know about Silver. And so he said, Angie, how long have this been going on? She like, I don't know. I just knew it was a lawyer. She didn't tell me. But are you mad because it's Tasha, or are you mad because it's Terry? He like, look, it's all about Tariq. If it was the relationship to save my boy, then that's all good. And she like, Jamie, I'm scared. They're going to come after me for everything I done. I used to be a good prosecutor, put away criminals. Now I'm a criminal. He said, no, Angie, don't worry. I got you. Come here. And then she go ahead and bring that Mayflower and park that Mayflower right on his lap. And he start kissing. She like, we should stay away from each other. And meanwhile, we see Tasha and Terry. And so now she getting ready to put down that down payment for his lawyer services. She hop on his lap. He pull out them tickle bitties. Meanwhile, Angie, she's still trying to talk herself out of it. We should stay away. We shouldn't do this. He like, no, we should stay together. If we stay together, then they can't get to us. And so then she started letting herself go. And meanwhile, Tasha, she trying to make sure Terry fall deeper and deeper in love. And then they cutting back and forth between the two love scenes. Angie pulling off Ghost pants. He done sat down. She done parked her Mayflower, landed right on his Plymouth Rock. And they both really feeling real good, about to put Ghost to sleep instantly, gave him a finishing move. Meanwhile, Tasha, she trying to put the finishing moves on Terry. They done put a little wet spot on the little fabric sofa. That's going to be hard to get out. But anyway, we see the next scene. They got Big Mac and Saks Fifth and Old Earth and everybody, and they trying to put together a case that Angie is working with Ghost as part of their criminal organization. And so they trying to put a RICO case together, and then headquarters like, wait a minute, you think Angie's a part of their organization? He like, yeah. And he said, man, I can't wait till we get Angie that subpoena and I see her face. And then he catches himself and he like, yeah, just justice served. And then old Earth gave him the side eye, and she like, yeah, I want to make sure that we get Angie together. And then headquarters asked Saks Fifth, you think Angie a part of this? He like, yeah, she's the reason why they keep getting off. And then Irv said, hey, I want you and Big Mac to put the squeeze on Teresi. He ain't gave us nothing. So then we see Saks Fifth and Big Mac, and they talking to Teresi. He like, hey man, y'all showing up in my house in this neighborhood, you're gonna get me killed. Get in here. And so then they get in. They like, so you heard anything? He like, no, not yet. He like, what about a murder that Angela Valdez is covering up? He like, Valdez. He like, they heard nothing about that. The meantime, Connie is watching. He like, you need to check into that. He like, I ain't heard nothing about a lawyer broad. And so then he comes and he looking all guilty, and she like, so you're gonna put away your only family you're gonna have left after I'm gone? He like, you're my family. She said, I'm not stupid. Tommy's your son, isn't he? And then he kind of bowed down and said, yeah. And she's like, yeah, I knew about the affair, but I didn't know about the child till recently. And then she smacked him. He's like, if you can't forgive me, it'll kill me. And she smacked the red off his neck. And then she was looking and with them jowls, and she said, I forgive you. Meanwhile, we see Tommy, and he's coming to meet up with Jason. And right when he walk in, first thing he do is give the man his money. He like $2 million clean money. He like, all right, that's good. And what about the Jimenez? And Tommy was like, well, they still above ground right now, but they got arrested, and somehow miraculously they got out. But we gonna get them. We got eyes on them. And then Jason like, oh, they got out. They could be snitching on my organization right now. I want those ports. And then Kanan like, we gonna get you the ports. He's like, not right now, old friend. And then he starts snapping on Tommy about getting those ports and doing what he promised before it's too late. So we see Tommy and Ghost and Kanan walking in the hallway, and Ghost like, hey Tommy, how come you didn't tell us the Jimenez was locked up? And Tommy like, oh, Ghost, get over it. Like, you ain't held stuff for me before. This my organization. Jason's my boss, and I'm gonna do things the way I'm gonna do things. And so he leaves. Ghost pulls Kanan to the side, say, hey man, I got eyes on Diego. I want you to hit him. He's like, all right, that Spanish brother dead. Meanwhile, we see Proctor, and he's in the office, and he says to Saks Fifth, hey, I'm about to file those harassment charges on y'all. I just wanted you to know. He said, hey man, come here, close the door. You heard anything about Valdez? He said, I'm not telling you nothing about my clients. He said, but you don't represent her. You know anything about a murder she's covering up? He like, what? Whoa, a murder? He's like, well, would you protect her if you did? He said, protect her? Hell no. He said, why don't you make those calls, and then I'll see what I can do. He like, no, make the calls first. So then Saks Fifth start making the calls. Meanwhile, we see Tasha, and she's at Truth to come talk to Ghost. And she like, yeah, I got Terry on lock. He gonna do it. He said, Tasha creeping out on me while I was on trial. That was bogus. She said, I know you ain't talking. And she said, nothing happened until you got off. He said, yeah, and then he got you off. She says, Ghost, I could have had a good life. That night that I held and stashed that gun for you, everything changed for me. And then he said, yeah, and now you asking Terry to hold and stash a gun for you. What make you think he built for that? He ain't built like that. And then Tasha's looking stupid right now because she know why she trying to say what Ghost did. Now she doing it to Terry. And she said, well, I know he's going to back me up. He got my back. And he said, well, look, also you scared Angie. We don't need her running off and saving herself. She said, yeah, but I bet you handled it. He said, Tasha, look, it ain't about me or you. It's about saving Tariq. After you get my boy off, do whatever you want to do. She said, fine, because I know you are. And then she walks off, and then Councilman Taint say, hey, Miss Patrick. She like, whatever, yeah. And so then him and Ghost start talking. And so he like, James, he's like, yeah, Councilman Taint, how come you didn't tell me you was announcer for governor? He like, yeah, how did you know? He said, well, it's not that how did I know, it's like, why were you hiding it from me? He said, well, look, James, I appreciate all your support, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to let you go from the Queen's Child Project. He like, man, you keep doing this, don't you? I'm trying to turn a new leaf, but you keep making it hard. He like, look, I'm giving you all your money back, every dime, as soon as I announce. And see you later. And he left, and now Ghost is looking stupid. Meanwhile, we see Angie. She's having lunch with Steve Tapia. And so she's talking to him, and she's saying, hey, when you let the Jimenez free, you made me look like a jerk. You owe me one. He like, all right, I'm sorry, my bad. How can I help? She like, look, I need a new job. And he's like, you don't even know what my department does. She like, I know. They all are part of the FBI, CIA, and all roll into one. He said, man, that's pretty impressive. She said, I'm highly motivated and I'm highly qualified. And like, all right, well, I'll see what I can do. She like, okay. And he's like, man, if I do have something available to be in D.C., she's like, okay, I got to go. And he like, how about we finish this conversation over drinks later? She like, okay, I'll call you. And so then she leaves and heads out of there. Then she goes to the house because she got a text from Tommy. And so she come in. She like, Tommy, you have to stop breaking into my house. He like, hey man, these chips is pretty good. She like, Tommy, what are you doing? He like, how come the Jimenez got free? She like, I don't know. If it was up to me, they still be there. And he like, well, they need to get got fast. She like, Tommy, why you want to get rid of your own connect unless you working for the competition? And she said, no wonder you asked me. And then Tommy got a text from Teresi. He wants somebody to meet, so he bounced. Meanwhile, we see Tommy. He rolling down in the musty thing with Tony and Sammy. You see they all got to eat. Tony, Tommy, Sammy. Anyway, they all talking, shooting the breeze, and then they pull up to the dude that's selling. They wait inside the pen. And so he like, yeah, what's up, man? He like, didn't I see you in the MCC? He like, yeah, those was great times. He like, oh, well, your stuff is selling like hotcakes. Come on. And so then they go inside his garage or whatever, and he flipped the switch and let the door down. They step into his office. He dips up under the stash, up under the table, and pulls out the money. Like, here you go, all there, Teresi. Like, it don't feel right. So he opens it up. He like, no, it's all there, Teresi. It's all there. And first you see all the money nice and fluff and pretty. And then Teresi peels it back, and it's like these metal weights back there. He like, man, what is this? And now old boy know the jig's up. He said, man, what the hell is this? This is the oldest trick in the book over here. Hey, Tommy, put this guy in Twilight. They like, hey man, you made a mistake trying to get over on us. And Tommy suckers him right in the mouth right quick and gives him something to chew on. And so Teresi and everyone start getting this stuff together to torture him. He like, Tommy, tie him up over there. And so Tommy start getting a little rope to tie him up. He like, hey man, shop class, always wear eye protection. And so they got dude duct tape, and they start torturing him. They like, so you thought that we wouldn't find out? He's like, you thought that I wasn't going to count it? And then he puts on the eyeglass, and then he starts drilling dude, getting the drill ready, and jams it right in his kneecap. You know that had to be excruciating right there. And then Tommy stops him. He's like, whoa. He's like, hey, you sure you got another connect in there? And Teresi laughing. He like, what? Another connect? After 25 years? You damn right I do. And so then after told Tommy that, Tommy was pretty much like, oh, okay. Well, hey, drill away. And pretty much the rest he aimed back at the middle of dude's head and straight jammed it right in the middle of dude's head. Put a big red dot on his head like a Hindu. He's looking like the Dalai Lama when it was all said and done, because they straight put that right in his head. And so, meanwhile, we see Tariq, and he's coming home from school, and he goes to his room. He finally checks the voicemail that Ghost left him, and after listening to it, he was about to respond, but then it looked like his inner Kanan voice got to him, and so he deleted it. And next thing you know, he called Kanan up, and he like, "Yeah, what's up? I'm ready to play the long game." He like, "Yeah, I knew it, son." And so, meanwhile, we see Tommy and the Pops and everybody laughing about the capers they pull and about all the people they done killed. And Tommy, like an idiot, is just spilling all the beans about everything he killed. They ain't really said nothing. And Tommy talking about how he bubble wrapped the guy and killed him. Sammy just looking like, man, what an idiot. He's just telling everything. And Tommy is telling everything. And then Teresi like, hey, man, why don't you come over tonight for dinner? Connie, it would help lift her spirits to hear some of these capers. And Sammy like, yeah, she's a great cook. He like, no, not you, Sammy. Just Mr. Family tonight. And Tommy, he heard that, and it kind of warmed his little cold gangster heart. And he like, oh, okay, thanks, Dad. And then Teresi kind of had a little feeling about himself when he called him Dad. He like, pull over, I need some smokes. And so while they pull over to get the smokes, they hop out the car. Tommy gets a phone call. It's his mama. And she's trying to tell him, why don't you come by later? Her booger sugar supply is getting low. And Tommy is like, no, I'm not coming over there, Ma. And she like, Tommy, come on, come over here. Why? What you got better to do? And Tommy like, Ma, I'm not coming over there ever. And then Teresi like, hey, Tommy, what you need? And he tried to tell him to cut it loose, but she heard him. She like, is that Teresi? Are you over there with that piece of shit? And he like, Ma, I gotta go. Bye. And so he hangs up the phone. Meanwhile, we see Connie. She done made food for Teresi. She done cleaned herself up. Look like she got some color in her. And Tommy like, hey man, this food is great. And so she like, yeah, it's good to be cooking for somebody again. So Tommy, you got a girlfriend? How's everything? And Tommy, he started looking. He like, no, I did, but she don't live in New York anymore, which we all know where she live. It ain't no one. It's a one-way trip where she live. And so then they saying, Teresi say, hey, Tommy needs a spot to clean this money. You always had good ideas. What do you think? And so then she thinks, she like, how about an ambulance? He like, hey, I love that idea. That's a great idea. And so then they get back onto the girlfriend thing, and they asking him about it. She said, you don't need to be alone. He like, well, I got somebody. She's pretty good. They like, hey, why don't you bring her by? He like, I don't know about that. Then they hear banging at the door. It says mama. So he gets up to try to calm it down. First thing he do when he opened up the door, his mama busts right past him like it was Lawrence Taylor for a quarterback sneak. She like, what are you doing here? I should have known you was here, you piece of, and then they start arguing, and he like, you need to get out of here. That's what Tony said. Then the mama like, you know who this is? This is my son. She like, I know who he is. She like, this is Tony's little bastard. She said, did you know that was Tony's bastard? She's like, yeah, I knew. Of course I knew. And so now she didn't have no trump card to play. So of course she want to go for the windmill move, and Tommy and Tony to hold her back. And Connie is looking like, oh, the nerve of this broad. And so then they throw her out of there. Meanwhile, we see Terry going to his car in the parking garage, and then all of a sudden, here come Ghost pop out. He like, James, what are you doing? He like, hey, I found the match to your lady's earring. Funny thing, it was in Tasha's jewelry box. He said, hey, nothing happened till the trial was over. He said, hey, what do you think the ethics committee is going to believe that? And so Terry is looking like, oh, damn. He's like, pretty much, Tasha thinks that you have got her back. And I just want to make sure you there. He like, I got Tasha back, but I think you the one that killed Raymond Jones. He said, I didn't kill Raymond Jones. He said, Tasha said that Tariq did it. He said, Ghost said, look, you are going to back up Tasha's story. And Terry said, or what? If something happened to me, you're going to be looked up as a motive. He said, look, just make sure you back her up and the ethics committee won't have to hear about it. Meanwhile, we see Tommy, and he done went to Keisha's house, and she like, Tommy, what's up? He like, hey, can I come in? And so Keisha reluctantly let him in, and he like, hey, I had dinner with my dad today. And she like, oh yeah, well, how'd it go? He like, I told him about you. And she's like, Keisha like, you told him about me? He like, yeah, I told him about you. They asked me if I had somebody. I told them I did, but I messed it up. And whoever ends up being with you, they're going to be a lucky guy. And I just keep messing everything up. I need to get out of here. And so he was all nervous, and he was about to get out of here. And Keisha like, hold up. You ain't messing everything up. You all good. What's up? So what did you tell him about me? And he was like, I just told him that you a good girl and I messed things up. And she like, come here. If we do this, I need to know you're going to be there for me like I am. And so they start kissing. He pull out the little taco meat. And then she start rubbing on the grill taco meat. And it started getting hotter than a hole in church inside of there. Tommy getting all into it. You know what I'm saying? He started rubbing on the booty, about to give it a velveteen rub. And next thing you know, it cut to Diego, and he's getting money from Dre. So Diego pulls the money out. He goes through it, and he likes it. Smells good. He takes a big whiff, smell it, and he say, smells great. I really don't like you, but this money, it makes me tolerate you a whole lot more. And so Dre looking stupid, and he like, okay. Well, also, we found out that it wasn't Ghost and Tommy that talked to the feds about you. And Diego like, oh yeah, who is it? It like, it was Arturo. And ain't no need to worry, man. We handled him, so ain't no need for him to be saying nothing else. And then Diego was looking, he's like, Dre was like, it wasn't me that picked him, it was Cristobal. I should have trusted my better judgment. And meanwhile, Hopkins is looking all salty. And then you see Diego, he like, okay, good. He like, hey, since we've been getting so much money together, I put together a private party for you and your mans. He said, oh, now you're talking my language. And so Dre's like, yeah, I know, right? I got some fine little freaky girls for you. I know you like an audience. He said, okay, man, I'll be there. And he told him to go. Meanwhile, we see Keisha, and she's getting up in the morning, and Tommy's still there. She like, you still here? He like, yeah. Where else would I be? And she said, I don't know, man. I'm just surprised to see you still here. He like, look, I messed up before, and I want to make up for you. He's like, I made you breakfast. She's like, well, look, if we gonna do this, then you need to let me do the cooking from now on. He like, okay, no problem. Meanwhile, we see Dre, and he smell his plan coming together. So he talking to Ghost, and he like, yeah, it's all set. He giving him the details on where they could meet Diego, and they exchange details on Jason. And so we see B-Hop 2-Bit, and he like, man, so you about to have him kill Diego? He like, yeah. And so instead of explaining the plan normally, he upset, and he like, man, I don't think that's gonna work. He like, look, once Diego gone, Alicia gonna do it. But what if she get mad that we killed her brother? He like, she ain't, Francis. And then he get mad. He done squanched up his little nose in anger. Meanwhile, we see Tasha having a little dinner with Keisha. And so they're talking about everything that's going on. And then Keisha like, so how you been doing with everything with Raina? She like, man, it's been a lot, but I'm just trying to focus on the good things. My whole life about to change, girl. And Keisha like, yeah, tell me about it. I met up with Tommy again last night. She like, oh yeah? I thought you said he wasn't gonna come over no more. She like, I don't know. He was telling me about his dad. She like, his dad? I thought Tommy's dad was dead. What about it? She like, look, we was doing other stuff. I wasn't worried about that girl. She like, nasty. And then she get a text from Terry saying, come on over. So she getting ready to leave. She like, then we see 2-Bit, and he hopping in the car with Kanan. And he like, man, Dre about to have Ghost pop Diego. And he like, oh yeah? He like, Kanan like, well look, man, we gonna stick to the plan. Except for Ghost popping Diego, I'ma pop Diego. He like, oh okay, well then, what we gonna do when we talk to Dre? He like, well, don't worry about it, man. We'll be able to, you can come get with us, you can still eat with us. And Serbians, he like, Serbians? Man, Dre about to go hit them right now. He like, oh hell no, I gotta stop that so we can both eat. And so, meanwhile, we see Ghost, and now he done met up with Alphonse. And so now we got Alphonse Capone inside of Truth. He like, hey man, how you doing? He like, good man, long time no see. He like, well that just means that Tate's been handling his side of the deal. Whatever he's paying you, I'ma double it. He like, oh yeah, word? So you gonna skim even more? He like, what you mean? He like, man, he been taking money off the top to keep us paid. He like, oh okay. Meanwhile, we see Teresi talking to Sax Fifth and Big Mac, and there he's talking about he want full immunity. They're like, you want full immunity? What do you got? Like, it was a murder in MCC. And then we see Sax give Mark the cue to go ahead. And so he's like, yeah, it was a murder. James St. Patrick. He killed Marsha Williams. He's like, Big Mac, like, did you see it? He was like, something like that. He like, would you testify? He like, if it comes to it. And so, meanwhile, we see Kanan playing chess with Tariq, and he explaining him about how to think ahead and outthink your opponent, and he like always be one move ahead, right? That's what Tariq said. Kanan like, nah, always be 3 moves ahead, son. And so meanwhile, we see Angie, and she calls Big Mac into her office, and she like, yeah, he like, have a seat, and he like, I prefer to stand, Angie, I was getting ready to go. What is this about? She like, well, it's a head of a criminal position available, and he's like, yeah, you gonna take it? She like, no, it's actually for you if you want it. And he's like, what's the catch? She like, well, I need a friend in this office, and so do you. And so he sit down, he's like, so what do you want to know? Then we see Tasha in the elevator going to Terry's house. She got a half smile on her face, ready to get that water head, get the juice loose, and then she come in and the whole apartment's completely cleaned out. And then she realizes, she sees this paper, it's her money, her check back, he's ghosted. She didn't know she was dealing with another ghost. Meanwhile, we see Councilman Tate, he comes to meet up with Ghost. He's like, yeah, James, how can I help you? He says, see, I just wanted to see if we could get back on board with the Queen's Child Project, and then I want you to hear this. And he plays a recording of Alphonse saying that he was skimming from the top. And then he, after the recording is finished, Tate like, damn. And he like, I am the Queen's Child Project. Make sure that I'm a part of it, because it ain't no Queen's Child Project without me. He like, alright, I'll be talking to you. He like, yeah, I'm sure you will. And so now he's texting Angela talking about he want to celebrate. Meanwhile, we see Big Papi Chulo and Diego, and they going to get some coochie. And we see B-Hop, and he like, yeah, man, the girl's inside waiting for you. And so they all happy. He talking about how the girl's gonna like his new gun or whatever. And we see Big Boy and the Fat Mac walk in, and it's these pictures on the floor saying, this way to some coochie. And so they following the signs, which should have been a red flag, that it was a setup, especially since it was actual red flags on the floor. And they like, man, I hope the girls are big enough, man. And hey, he needed some wide load. And so we see 2-Bit, and he talking to Spanky. And so we see Irk and Jerk, and he telling them the plan and about how Kanan gonna do it. He like, man, I wasn't ready for Kanan. He like, hey man, don't worry about it. We ain't gonna do nothing because Dre didn't tell us to get Kanan. He like, all right, bet. And so then we see inside they getting ready to go to where the coochie's supposed to be according to the red flag. Soon as they open the door, it's Kanan, and he pops them both, lays Fat Mac out on the floor, pops Diego on the shoulder. Diego's still holding his shoulder. He's surprised at the setup. Kanan comes right to him at point blank range and shoots him right in the head and leave him leaking right on the floor. And so while Diego is dead now, Kanan gets this bag and puts it next to him, and the next thing you know, he starts chopping his top like a convertible. And so we see that he done took his head off, and we see 2-Bit, Irk and Jerk in the car, and they like, yeah, pretty soon we about to leave Dre. He making too many enemies, and we about to be eating with Kanan and the Serbians. And then Urkel was like, wherever you go, I go, my pet. And so then we see Kanan bring the bag over to Jason. He like, what's this? He like, man, Ghost and Tommy taking too long, so I went on ahead and handled business for you. Then he unzipped the bag, and it's Diego's severed head in there. It looked like he was grossed out, but he held it together. He like, okay, that was a pretty big move doing it all on your own. What's up? What can I do for you? He like, give me a spot and give me Tommy's spot in your organization. He like, oh, you gonna take Tommy out? He like, Kanan said, nah, Ghost and Tommy gonna take each other out. He's like, well, I don't know, man. You gotta show me and prove that I can trust you. He's like, well, I'll save your life again. The Jimenez sending hitters to come take you out. He like, nah, we'll stay and take them out. He like, nah, we gotta leave because that dude that's coming is the only connect to Diego's sister, and without her, we don't get you those ports. So Jason like, all right, let's go. And then he tell his guys in their language, come on, let's go. And so while they leave, we see Dre. He gets off the elevator. He in disguise as the maintenance man, the cleanup crew, and he's pushing the little cart down the hallway. Once he sees that the coast is clear, he smells no trouble. He opens up the cart and pulls out the rifle. And so he got the rifle with the silencer. He's going towards the apartment where they were, the hotel room, and then he sees it's cleared out and hotel staff is cleaning the joint, so he knows something ain't right. Then we see Ghost having dinner with Angie, and she's like, I can get used to this, Jamie. And she said, this is delicious. And he's like, man, many more dinners to come. And so they all enjoying their night, their evening together, and then they get a knock at the door, and she's like, I'll go get it, Jamie. And so he's looking all wondering what's going on. He get a text from Kanan saying mission accomplished. She opened the door. Of course, it's Tasha barging in like a bull in a china shop, and she's saying, what did you say to Terry? He like, I just gave him a little bit of incentive. And they like, what incentive, Jamie? What did you do? And she's like, Terry is gone. Terry left town. I went into his house, his apartment. He cleaned out everything. He's gone. He's left. I don't know what we're gonna do. Now we screwed. And Angie like, with Terry leaving, it make it look like he knew some information. Oh no, we got to come up with a new story or we're all screwed. We're gonna all go down, Jamie. And Ghost, he don't know what to say. He thinking for a second. She like, we're gonna all go down unless we come up with something new. And so now Tasha, she looking shook, and she like, it's alright, it's my fault, I'll take the blame for it. And so Angie like, what do you mean? And Tasha, she pulled out the gun, and she like, you have the murder weapon? And she's like, I thought you said you got rid of it. And she like, well, I kept it in case we got here. And so now Angie's salty right now because she been lied to again by either Ghost or Tasha. Either one of them lie to her all the time. And so now Angie like, I'm gonna take the fall and I'm gonna say that I did it. And Ghost is like, oh no, hell you not. If anybody gonna take the fall for the family, it's gonna be me. Then Angie, she looked like she was heartbroken when she heard Ghost say he gonna take the fall for Tasha and Tariq. She really probably wanted to say, no, Jamie, let Tasha go down for it. But nobody said nothing. They all was kind of in the silent standstill, wondering what's going to happen next. And this episode was crazy because neither one of them should be taking the fall for Tariq. He's about to get into more trouble again, get his mama in more trouble, and it seems that he may have gone too far down the wrong path and is maybe too late. And it's not worth saving him right now. Maybe he does need to go to jail. Ghost, he shouldn't take the fall for Tariq after all the disrespect and problems that Tariq did. And Tasha, she shouldn't take the fall for Tariq because he's getting her in trouble again with these pills. The only problem is that they don't know what's going on yet. So that's why it's sad that they about to take the fall for an idiot boy that they got. But anyway, it's interesting that headquarters tried to give Angie the warning, like Pop in the barbershop, that you don't have no friends in this office. But that's something that she should have known from the beginning when Sax and Big Mac tried to get rid of her last season. She shouldn't have brought them back to work in the office. She should have fired them or sent them somewhere else. So that's her fault that she kept those enemies right next to her. That was a stupid move. In the end, it sucks that it's 2 weeks till Power comes back on. It won't be on this Sunday. If y'all didn't catch that, sorry to break the news, but we'll be back another week after that. Looking forward to hearing your comments. Let me know if you liked the video. Thanks for all your support. People support me at Patreon and PayPal. I couldn't do this without you all. It really, really means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. It really helps. Every little bit helps. And with that being said, don't forget, if you like the video, click that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you later, Jamie. Peace.